Hey everybody, I wanted to take a minute and just go over a couple of things that people can be doing proactively to address their potential exposure to the virus that we're all talking about, the coronavirus and the disease that it creates, COVID-19. In a separate video, I talked about my thoughts on kind of social distancing type things and how this virus gets into the body, so I'm not going to go into that right here. I'm going to just give you in a nutshell some of the basics. Because this virus stimulates cytokines, and when cytokines get out of control in the body, and by the way, cytokines aren't bad, they're cell signalers, they're supposed to be there. But when they get out of hand, they create a lot of inflammation, and that's not good for this particular virus because it causes inflammation in the lungs, vessels, and so forth. So there's many immune stimulants that people commonly take that work to stimulate cytokine activity, and that's what you want to not do with this. So I'm encouraging people to avoid taking things like echinacea, andrographis, golden seal, berberine, Oregon graperoot, just during this period of time, only because those are immune stimulants which will potentially push cytokine activity. Rather than do that, I'm encouraging people to utilize vitamins A, E, D, C, zinc, and glutathione as your core. These things are immune neutral, and they will help the body to achieve a more immune neutral state and actually help to suppress overactivity within cytokines so that we don't get into a cytokine storm. Now, as an adjunct to that, there's a few things that I like to do prophylactically, and if anyone actually starts to show signs of infection. I love to use silver, and I love to use ozone. Now, both of those come in a variety of applications. There's obviously applications topically with silver, but there's also oral silver that you can utilize. And oral silver, as long as it's made appropriately, is very safe to use. I'm not an advocate for making your own because molecularly it can be hard to metabolize, and there have been incidences where it actually gets stuck in the body. But if you're utilizing Argentin, like Argentin 23 or Sovereign Silver, those companies have been very reliable in making a product that not only has antiviral and antibacterial properties, but you could consume this stuff all day long and it's not going to have an adverse effect because you filter it straight out. I personally have done that for years, and I'm not blue, as you can see. So ozone, that's another one to consider, and it's become a very strong favorite of mine, and it comes in a variety of forms. The only tissue that ozone is not safe for is your lungs. You do not breathe ozone. I cannot overemphasize that enough. So if you're utilizing an ozone generator and you have one of those in your home, you probably already know that fact. But ozone is great to be used in a bottled form where you can drink it. So you ozonate water and you drink it, and when you do that, you're going to take a breath of air over here, open your bottle, glug, 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 cap it off, exhale, and breathe. That's how you get ozonated water into the body without having any risk to your respiratory system. You can also use ozone in a suppository form or even in an enema form, and both of those get into the bloodstream at an extremely fast rate and provide a systemic effect of being antiviral, antibacterial, and it helps to hyperoxygenate the system. People that do this when they're fighting an infection generally knock it out in a very short period of time. I personally have dealt with numerous viruses that way, and within 24 to 48 hours, I'm on the mend. So those are the three forms that I would be a strong advocate for. Look at utilizing ozonated water. Ozone suppositories are great, and then ozone in a gaseous form via enema, or you can actually ozonate water and insert that into the rectum as an enema. Any one of those forms works equally well. A caveat, if you do rectal application of ozone, it does need to be followed by glutathione as well. And the glutathione actually gets recycled in our intestinal tract. That's by design. And so when you put ozone in and it kills off any unfriendly species and hyperoxygenates the body and does its job, glutathione then actually backs up that process, quenches any free radicals, and actually provides more oxygen delivering capacity to the body, and actually helps to shift the immune system to a more immune neutral state. One last aspect on that, doesn't have to be, but I like to have this done, using suppositories of probiotics. And so we've actually had specialty probiotics made for us that have about 500 billion live organisms in them. And when you look at utilizing probiotics, it's not just to make your tummy feel good. These really are a key player in our role in terms of making GABA, dopamine, serotonin, as well as immune modulation. So in an ideal world, you would actually, if you're using the suppositories, do all three. So you would ozonate first, follow it by glutathione, and then follow that up by the probiotic suppository. Last on that list, particularly in our region, most of us use reverse osmosis or water softeners, so our water is actually depleted of minerals once we finally get it. And it's super important to stay hydrated. Well, if you're just drinking the reverse osmosis water without minerals, you're actually going to be passing a lot of that through and not receiving the benefit of it. And I can't overemphasize the importance of staying hydrated while you're ill. And so having some electrolytes on board to put back into water that you may have reverse osmosis is very important. Last couple of things, personal hygiene, wash your hands often, and just soap and water. You don't have to go crazy with the antibacterial things. It's nice to have those on hand for occasional use, but if you're using them too often, you're really going to beat up your skin and potentially make antibiotic resistant strains on yourself. Exercise so that you can release your endorphins, and be friendly and support your fellow human beings, and just be a good neighbor. These are my thoughts right now on things that we can actively be doing. Best wishes.